My name is Mercer Cauley. I'm a partner here at Cauley Forsyth, and I'm a board certified immigration specialist here in North Carolina. But the good news is that with immigration, it's across the United States. It's federal law, so we have clients and represent people all over the U.S., so we'll be able to answer your questions. And today, I'm joined by, as always, by Attorney Raquel. So thank you for joining us today, Attorney Raquel.
Thank you so much, Attorney Cauley. Like he said, my name is Raquel Fernandez, and I'm an associate attorney here at Cauley Forsyth Immigration, where we focus on all immigration issues. So we're really excited to be able to have this opportunity to answer your questions. Leave them in the comments. Today's live is completely in English, but we do have our Spanish live on Fridays at 12 p.m. Eastern Time.
Absolutely. So over the past few weeks, we've had a lot of questions relating to DACA. So just go ahead and give you a little bit of an update on DACA. So the new rule is out. So what that means is that first-time recipients of DACA, so you haven't applied before, will be able to apply starting October 30th. Now, we're still waiting for the Fifth Circuit to finish what they are doing, and also just waiting to see if anyone tries to sue over this rule again. But right now, we believe that DACA is going to be available for people. So what we're telling people, don't necessarily file your applications yet, but go ahead and start getting all the information and all the evidence together so that if it's your first time, you can go ahead and file. Also, if you've let your DACA expire and it's expired for more than a year, USCIS treats you like you are a first-time applicant. So keep that in mind also. If you've waited this long, you will have the opportunity, hopefully here at the end of October, to be able to file again. So again, thank you already for all the likes. We appreciate it. It lets us know that we're on the right track and that we're getting you the information you need. That's why we do this, is to get out as much information as possible so that you can have the power to know what the information is to be able to make the right decision. So thank you so much for the likes and for joining and for following us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So do you have any questions over there yet?
Yep, we have some questions already. And the first one is from Jeffrey Reynoso. And he says, good morning. I have a sister who's a citizen. Can she sponsor me? I have DACA right now. How long is the wait?
So Jeffrey, that is a great question. The short answer is yes, she can file for you. The problem is that with a U.S. citizen sibling filing for another another sibling, the wait times are very, very long. And so in most situations, in most countries, you're looking at somewhere around 13 to 16 years. If it's Mexico, you're waiting over 20 years. So she can start the process for you, but it's not going to be a fast process. And we don't know what it's going to look like 15 or 20 years from now. So, but she can start for you, but just know it's not, if there is a solution there, it's not going to be a fast solution. Okay.
And, yep.
Here, you go ahead and I'm ready. I'll write this one down.
Okay, awesome. I have a question here from Rui Sands, and he says, my daughter is in the military. What can I do? So I think he's trying to see if he can obtain some sort of status with his daughter being in the military.
Absolutely. So it's very interesting that with someone in the military, so if you have a close relative, such as a spouse, a child, or a parent that's in the military, there's something called parole in place. And it's military parole in place. This is important because if you enter the United States without a visa, but you're able to obtain military parole in place, that military parole in place acts like an entry. So even though your entry may not have had a visa, with the parole in place, it'll be treated as if that didn't happen and you do have an entry. So that's very, very crucial for then adjusting your status and being able to obtain a green card. Now, keep in mind, if you've had multiple entries, there may be other problems with that, but if it's only one entry without a visa, military parole in place may be a very good option to help you obtain a green card in the future.
Absolutely.
Okay. One question here about how long fiance visas are taking. So what's happening is with the fiance visa itself, the first step you have to file here in the U.S. Right now, that process is taking about a year for them to make a decision. Then once it's finished, then it's sent to the consulate in the country where your fiance is for the last part, which is for the interview. So we're telling most people expect it to take probably a year and a half. We hope it will be shorter. We hope that they start working through some of these backlogs that they have. But right now, expect it to probably take about a year and a half from the time you start until the time that they're there for their interview. Okay, so here, have that one. Also, kind of like we're just talking about with military parole in place, another question that comes up quite a bit is I have a son or daughter over the age of 21. Can they file for me? And the problem is not going to be can't they file for you? They absolutely can, just like what I was saying with the brother and sister. They absolutely can file for you. The issue is going to be that eventually you're going to have to leave the United States and come back into the U.S. When you leave the U.S., there's going to be a 10-year bar from being able to come back in. And unfortunately, right now, a U.S. citizen child over the age of 21 cannot file a waiver. So there is, the answer is yes, they can, but at this point, you're not going to be able to get the green card in the end. So I'd be very careful with that. Okay, and as you can hear, my puppy Wagyu has decided that right now is the best time to play. So we'll try to keep him a little quiet. Do you have a first free consultation? Yes, all of our consultations, the initial consultations are free. So if you have an issue and you want to discuss it with us, just go ahead and call the number right here, 704-522-6363. And we would be able to set you up. But yes, our first consultation is always free. Again, we want to make sure you're empowered, you have the information, and you can make the decisions that you need to make to move forward with your immigration. Okay. Let me see. Do you have a question over there? I'm backlogged a little bit.
Yes.
I need to jump up and get some.
I have one here from Joan Pinallo, and she says, "Good morning. God bless you. I have a question about my girlfriend. Her visa, so it doesn't say what kind of visa it is, but it says that he is a citizen and how long he should wait, or how long the wait is for the petition if he marries her."
Okay, so if you marry a U.S. citizen and you entered with a visa, then you can file what we call a one-step adjustment of status. And all that means is you can file all the petitions at one time. So your spouse's petition, your petition, work authorization, you can file all of that at the same time. Right now, from the time you file and until the time you obtain an interview, what we're seeing here in Charlotte is it's probably going to take you about a year before you get that interview. And that seems to be pretty consistent around the country. Some places are a little faster, some are a little slower, but for the most part, we're seeing it taking about a year. Now, the work authorization card, you get to file for that as well. That was taking about 9 months. That is sped up a little bit. Now I think we're seeing it closer to 7 months. But even the work authorization card is taking a long time to obtain. But altogether, expected to take about a year. And work authorization, expect that to take about 7 months. Okay, jump down here. If you get approved for advanced parole, hold on 1 second. There we go. If you get approved for advanced parole, is there any reason for them not to let you enter back? Typically, there is not. So if you have an advanced parole, typically you're able to come right back in the country. Some of the things to watch out for would be certain things like making sure that your passport and your advanced parole have not expired. So making sure that your documents are within the period that you're traveling. Also making sure there's no problems with COVID. Right now, COVID restrictions have pretty much been removed, but coming back in the country, if there are certain requirements for vaccinations and those types of things, make sure that you completely complied with that. Other than that, if there are some very severe types of crimes that a person may have, it's possible that the person may be placed in removal proceedings if they come back in and have some serious crimes, because that can pop back up. But for the most part, there aren't too many reasons for them not to let you back in. That's why you had the permission beforehand. But there are some occasions, like we're just explaining, where if you have those things, you need to be careful. So a very good question there. That's one that comes up quite a bit.
Absolutely. And for those asking, so our offices are located in Charlotte, North Carolina, but as Attorney Mercer said, we can represent clients all over the world in all 50 states. So if you're interested in a free initial consultation, please give us a call. The number is 704-522-6363.
Okay, so Joe, I have a question here. It says you have an L2. How do you get a green card? So in order to obtain the green card when you're in status, you're going to have somebody sponsor you or sponsor your spouse, one of the two. And typically, if you're in L2, it's probably going to be a business. And so the business can file for an EB2, EB3, depending on what type of degree you have and also what type of job it is. So it is possible for the business to be able to sponsor you to obtain a green card and then to be able to move that direction. And again, if you're L2, you may be here as through a spouse. And so your spouse would be able to do the same thing. If your spouse obtains a green card, then you would also be eligible. So typically, unless you have a relative that also can help you apply, then the best way to do it is through a business. And since it's L2, it sounds like you already have some links to businesses. So that would probably be your best bet, is to have them go through. And the term you probably have heard is called the PERM process. And in the PERM process, they have to recruit and then they have to file for you. So that might be one of your better options. Okay. So question here, how do I expedite my work permit with VAWA? I'm a college student. So Eric, there really is not a way to expedite a work permit. There are some petitions where you can expedite and get them faster. Work permit's not one of them. Now, one thing you can always do, you can always ask them to expedite and explain the situation that you're in. So asking them to expedite it, and hopefully they will, but there really is not a way to get an expedite done without just basically asking them, please, in your discretion, do this, and they might do it, but most times we see that they do not. So.
And I did have a question relating to expediting cases regarding the U visa. So can you expedite a U visa case?
Again, typically no. With U visas right now, those are taking 6, maybe even 7 years before they're being approved. We're seeing applications for U visas being approved that were filed in 2016. Now, there is a process called deferred action. It's very similar to DACA in that you'd be able to get a work authorization card, which will let you get your driver license and a few other things. So that is in existence for U visas. Hopefully, they're going to start going through more applications and getting through some of those backlogs, so it'll be able to help you out. But there really is not a process where you can expedite a U visa. Kind of like I was saying before, there's not a lot of expedites out there. Most of the expedites happen with business visas, not necessarily with family or with you, VAWA, those types of things. So, and part of the problem with the U visa, a lot of people don't realize, is that they only give out 10,000 visas every year. So that's part of the reason why it takes so long, is if they get 20,000 applications, they only give out 10,000 visas. 10,000 people are waiting to the next year. And then it gets being pushed back until right now we're 6 years behind. So that's part of the problem and why the expedite is not available for U visa. But very, very good question. A lot of people are asking about U visas. So very good question.